Self-help won't help yourself. I'm making music for our stereotypes. There you go. That's a little bit of what is it? Obscenery by Queens of the Stone Age off the latest record in Times New Roman. Wonderful on the tour. They came to Phoenix, I believe it was in December. It was in December, if I do recall correctly. It was preceded by Royal Blood, I believe, in November of last year. And so it's December this year that we're talking about. And today we have a very short episode. Things are still cooking, things are still moving along, but today we're going to take a little bit of time to, to enjoy ourselves. We're assembling the 701st Regiment. It's very good. It is July 5th. It is the day after the independence. 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 Yes, it is the subsequent of the day of independence. And now this is how we're going to proceed and move forward. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joshing your jickles. Anyways. We got a little baby Yoda going here. Little baby Yoda running up the top. On this one, we got a little baby Yoda going. You might be thinking, what's this guy talking about? What's this guy talking about? I don't even know. What do you know? Making you flinch. This is a 20-minute episode. We're doing a 20 today. Maybe 25 if you're lucky. Busy weekend, so I'm going to do a couple back-to-back right now. Just so I've got things kind of booked out. I want to get a day ahead on these, just so I got a little bit of tolerance, a little bit of wiggle room built up if I have a long day. Don't want that to throw off the schedule for all you people doing the 30 comments to get in the 701st. But yeah, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. For those of you who are just listening for the first time, you might be saying, what's the 701st? The 701st Regiment is basically a group of people who want to be a part of the new Rock Dynasty. So we're bringing back rock. We're getting people set up with podcasts so they can be kingmakers, whether they're a rock producer, whether they just like rock music, or preferably, hopefully, they're a rock artist themselves, right? And we're making it so they have a big influential podcast and they can put people on the map. And after a couple months, they have a podcast. Maybe it's a year, maybe it's half a year, maybe it's 3 months. But the other personalities, you can bring people on. Now they become kingmakers themselves, and we can birth more and more and more and more and more. We want platforms, and we don't want it all to be one place that's top down. No. We're going to use this. We want to build a network with all these independent nodes, and we can work together and send people and send guests and send musicians between each other and help get them exposed and help build them up. And they can become a node in the middle of our network. And we can keep building up this community, this decentralized community of people, and that are all bringing back rock. So it's not just like you have one major label and another major label and a major network that you can be on, or MTV. It's like, no. We have all the hundreds of thousands of independent little rock stars on their mic. And their mission full-time is to bring the best rock music and the best rock musicians to you, to bring the best for the rock community going forward into the future, but also, connect with you. So you can understand their voice, you can understand their perspective, you can understand, do I like listening to this person? Do I think their tastes align with mine, right? So if they make a recommendation, you go, oh, I really want to check it out. But some people, you're like, oh, they like this kind of thing. You're like, yeah, let me check out what they have to say about what's good in that kind of style. And so you look for that. Yeah, and so yes, you get a whole network of all these different things, almost like a brain, you know what I mean, working, putting out. It's all set up to make rock happen. And the way we do it is we make it so that it's profitable for you to be a node, right? To be a node in the network, to be a kingmaker in our network of kings in our dynasty. Lords and lordettes, lords and ladies of the High Council, There we go. 5 minutes. 5-minute podcast. Yeah, I forgot I turned the mic up so I can sit like this and I can talk above the mic. I don't even need to talk into the mic anymore. I'm a little off. I'm a little tired. I'm a little cranky, a little frustrated. I went and did a bunch of push-ups yesterday on the 4th. No, I didn't do push-ups. That's a lie. I did a bunch of pull-ups. Ran around. Did a bunch of pull-ups. My legs are sore. Starting to do cardio all the time. Starting to run around. I'm just like, I'm amped. I'm ready to go. So it's good because I've just got like energy. I'm like, work on the business, like bring back rock, bring back rock, work on the podcast, workshop that, do TikToks for it. Like, oh, I got school because I'm in school right now. I'm doing a master's. I'm like, okay, do that. Do my master's, work on the podcast, rinse and repeat. Oh, you're too angry to do anything? Go work out. Come back. You still have angry energy? Good. Use it. Good. Jocko Wheeling. Huh. Yeah, it's the funny thing is like, you know, you figure out what you're doing, and once you know what you're doing, you know, because for some people it's like, oh, I'm going to be a doctor. It's like, okay, great. And there's where they are now, and there's where that's going to be, and there's just a fixed amount of time it's going to take. It doesn't matter how hard you work. It's going to take time, right? But assembling the 701st, they're assembled here right now. Nothing in between. It could take 10 years if I'm lazy, or it could take 3 months. It could take a month. Think about it. It's directly proportional to my input. And you go, well, I need time to think between these things. You don't need time to think. You just need to do it. And so if you're like, I'm too tired to think right now, it's like, okay, quick, stretch, relax, take 2 minutes to focus, recenter, and then think. You know? You don't need time. You need clarity. You need the ability to string tiny pieces of logic together. That does not. Because here's the thing: is you're making things simple. As a person who has a high intelligence, you can fall into the trap of trying to make everything complex. And if you make everything complex, well, then you can be fascinated by it, and you can be like, "Wow, I'm so deep. I made everything complex. Isn't this great? Like, I'm so smart." And you can bask in it and get nothing done. Or you can use your intelligence to make everything simple and then chain them together and make everything simple and keep going and keep going and keep going. Because then you're unstoppable. Then you really are the snake eating its own tail. You know what I mean? It feeds back into itself forever. The last episode was the infinite game. I summarize it here right now in my upcoming word, which is thus, as follows. As follows is thus, and thus is as follows. It's that I suspect immortality, in the sense that we conceive of it kind of now, will be somewhat trivial. I believe that, from my current understanding of the knowledge that's present and the rate of innovation, that immortality is going to be like just what everyone does. It's going to be like really cheap. It's going to make $5 a year to like never die. And it's going to get cheaper and cheaper over time. So eventually it'll be basically free to live forever. So the trends go on forever. And so to me, it seems that technology is going to advance to the point where there won't be money to be made in doing something better. I mean, if you invent an entirely new thing, yeah, there's money there. But I think the real game is it's not going to be like, oh, I think basically the differences in price between like Walmart and like someplace else are going to be destroyed. Everything's going to cost the same pretty much everywhere because everything's going to get so easy to make. The only way you're going to sell something for more than someone else is going to be by having a brand. It's because people feel better about buying yours than they feel about buying not yours, right? You could buy Kim Kardashian's Skims, or you could buy some other leggings, right? That's going to become the thing. It's going to become who. So this is more kind of doing with dating, but like, it turns, some people have this idea that It's either a brand or your commodity. I think even Robert Kiyosaki from Rich Dad Poor Dad was kind of saying this idea, is playing around with it. They're like, in dating, you're either generic, replaceable, or you're a brand. You're a person. You're an individual in someone's mind, right? I think that goes, kind of regardless of your orientation. Yeah, but I think just in general, with dynamics between people interacting with each other, is either, you know, yeah, as I kind of talked about this earlier, was someone's either a stranger or they're a person you know. Even if you don't like them, they're a person you know. Right? Your brain either sees them as not a human, like, or not even not a human, but like they just filter them out. They go random person, or it's someone that goes, I know that person, I recognize them, even if it's just because I've seen them and I've been exposed to them, 11 times in a row. Like 11 days in a row, I've been walking the same place and I saw them. I walked by them. Now your brain clocks them as a human, clocks them as a brand, not a commodity, right? So likewise, I think that's how it'll be. It'll be like, oh, I recognize the name of that water, right? Why do people fight over all these different, like, what's the best water? It's all the same product. It's all brand. And I think eventually it's going to get to the point where the only brands that are really going to be powerful are the ones that are a brand with multiple people attached. Yeah, actually, I think that's it. Or just a brand with one person. But then that one person has a network of people they hang out with. So there's a whole story built into it, right? I think Joe Rogan uh, did a energy drink with Killcliff, right? I don't know if it's a company he owns or something, but I saw Joe Rogan Killcliff energy drink, and it was pineapple flavored, and I didn't really like the flavor, but it was like, it really woke you up. It was strong. So I was like, okay, well, I kind of enjoyed that fact, the effect, even though the flavor profile wasn't like pleasing to my palate. I really liked how it woke me up. So I was like, okay, I'm going to drink it. And so the whole thing is, you see Joe Rogan, but you also think of, what does Joe Rogan stand for? It stands for the idea, for hope, that you can have a platform and that you can do what you want, and you can publicize your personality, and you can build a brand. You don't need to commit to any like sort of agenda or anything. You can just say, I'm going to come and put myself out there and talk to people and wave the flag of who I am and say, hey, if you want to have some interesting conversations, get to know me. Or if you care about the stuff that I care about or want to help me with these things, come over here, and just kind of put out that call and said, hey, if you're interested, join up. And so all of that's baked in, right? So I think that brands are going to increasingly become just, you've got a product, you got a company, and you get the person. Maybe it's multiple people like Prime, it's KSI and Logan Paul. Logan Paul. I'm hungry. I'm angry. Not at anything in particular. I'm just like, grr. High T. High testosterone. Alpha. Yeah, whatever they say. I don't care what the people say. Well, it's going to hell now anyways. So I think we're to live forever. If you make it for the next 30 years. Within 30 years, the standard will be living forever. And then second, I think the only smart investment, career path, career choice for people is going to be publicizing their personality. So we're to live forever. So the only thing that will continue to infinitely be entertaining is people publicizing their personality and people connecting with that personality. Now, this is barring people altering their genetics to the point where they don't care about personality and they're not engaged in it. But I don't think people will do that, because without personality, without your attachment to other people and excitement, there's no joy in living life. If you're just blindly joyful, I think people won't want that because it won't be effective. It might be, though. There might be a way that but until people decide that we want to cease to enjoy things, no, I think there will always be a population, and since it's infinitely growing, there will always be a population that want to enjoy things, connect with people. And so I think pretty much the dominant form of career will be publicizing your personality, building a brand. And because people want to buy stories, people want to be a part of stories, people want to live vicariously through your narrative, through your character. They want to see parts of themselves reflected in you and parts of things they hate reflected in themselves. They want to see parts of it all. They want to see the experience. They want art. You know? It's reality TV. It's nature. It's humanity. It's all they're after. After all, that's all they're after all. Right? Think about it. Oh no, you can't think about it. I gotta take my glasses off. I get the little grey, I get the yod, the baby yada. Let's see. 10 more minutes. 10 more minutes. Are you ready? You ready to rock? There we go. There we go. Let's rock and roll. Let's rock and roll. You ready to go? Huh? You ready? Yeah. There you go. Duck and jive. Zigzag and wander. So infinity is upon us. That's my conception of it. And the only asset to be had is going to be the publicizing of one's personality. It's going to be branding. It's going to be building a personal brand. That'll be the only asset, personal brand. And you have kids, and your kids are going to personal brand, and that's going to build with your brand. It's going to go infinitely, because the audience is infinitely going to go, because people live forever and they have kids, right? They're going to want to have kids. Now, if they don't want to have kids, then what's the point, right? But let's say there's going to be always, here we go, there will always be a population that wants to have kids, and everyone else isn't going to want to die. So everyone's going to stay alive forever, and then some people are going to have kids. So the population will grow, period. The audience for brand will always grow. So there'll always be growth. And if everyone lives forever, and your kids live forever, in some point through there, even if growth is slow, it'll eventually reach the same size as your initial brand was, or a level that is sufficient. Or they join your brand and you have infinite money. The whole dynamics of the whole like thing kind of change once you get to the new paradigm. You know, it's funny, you can think about like, let's say 1900s. That's like paradigm -1. Ultra finite. Your lifespan is very finite. And then paradigm 0, the transition period, is like 1900 to like 20 years from now. But then it hits 1. Then paradigm 1, it flips, it's on. It went from being 0 off to on, 1. Once it's on, it doesn't go off. The whole thing changes. What's the strategy? What's smart? What's wise, right? You look, paradigm -1, your instincts were the right thing to do. But then we get to the point where we're period 2. Now you're living longer. Now the game's changed. Now you work a job. Now you have a mortgage. Now you have a house. Now you have a wife. Now you have kids. Now you've got drinking. Now you've got substance abuse. Now you've got mental health, right? It's a paradigm 0. What's a good idea there? That develops. People come up with strategies. But we're going into paradigm 1. It's going to be a different rule book. You go from playing a finite game to an infinite game. In the realist sense. Imagine you're growing a company your whole life, and then you pass it on to your kids. But oh wait, you are your kids. And then again, and then again, and then again. Every single generation forever. Now you're thinking, right? You're thinking about it. What happens? How do you approach that? And here's the interesting thing, too. You can try a different career. You can try a different business idea. You can try something, right? You try things. They fail. They fail. They fail. They fail. Eventually, if you have infinite time, and let's suppose you get bored and you keep wanting to try things, eventually, after 100,000 years, you want to try something again. Eventually, you keep trying things. One of them is going to work. And you'll probably do it for infinity. So let's say try things, you do something for infinity. Well, if you're coming from infinity, looking backwards, you would say, there's something that you do for infinity, and then there's all this time you wasted before then. Just start with the thing you're going to do forever, that you're going to do for infinity. Cut out the preamble. So what is that thing? I believe it's building a brand. Because once you build a brand, you can attach any decent product, any good product, any functioning, any good product to it. And you rinse and you repeat. That's the name of the game, at least as I see it. And I'm 21. What do I know? But maybe I'll be 21 forever. Maybe that's part of my brand. No, but let's say it'll be 30 years from now. Will it be part of my brand then? So if that's the game we're in, there's 701 limited spots. Those 700, those are the first nodes in the network we're going to shoot off. You know, some of them don't want to be in front of the camera. They want to work behind the scenes. They want to be connecting people. You know, eventually over time, that's going to be probably a full-time career, make really good money, you know, if you're helping out grow these different podcasts and connecting people and scheduling for them and getting their questions and organizing producers and stuff. Many, many, many hundreds of thousands of podcast companies will assuredly be built off of this, right? And you say, well, people buy them up and roll them up into one big corporation. Yeah, but then it'll suck and people stop using it. Some people will use it because it'll be good enough for a time, but then it's going to be one-stop shops. Things are going to get increasingly decentralized, if they can be. And this definitely can be. Organizing guests for a podcast is a personal, you know, more of a personal type of thing. It's dealing with human psychology. It's not figuring out how to save 2 cents from a manufacturing process. It's about the human characteristics. So the people who are good people, even if they don't want to be in front of the camera, they can be behind the camera helping people. So you have 701, and we're sprouting off them as the nodes. All it takes is like 5 famous people coming on the Rock Show. They don't need to be world famous. Well, they probably will be. But let's say 5 famous people come on a year from now. 5 famous people come on. Now famous people see the show and go, oh, I can come on. Now famous people come on infinitely. So I've got an infinite supply of famous people coming on 5 days a week. I slot the other 2 days in with people from the 701st. We build them up. We have them come on once a week for 3 months straight. During that time, they're doing their podcast. We're building the audience, exposing them to them, sending people who like them over so they get kickstarted, and then other people are going to find them who are not from the Rock Show, who don't even like the Rock Show, but they're going to like that person. And so the people who did like both are going to start watching both, help them kickstart, and then eventually they build their own 700. And then they do the exact same thing, except we have the guests that already like us and who are famous and who've been on our thing. And then we send them over to them. Now, it probably only takes 3 months for them to blow up. Rinse and repeat. Node. Now you've got all these different rock stars with all these different tastes, with massive audiences, with connections, with all of these famous people who can help them see their taste into fruition. All these different things. You've now got an age of rock that you can't stop. That's the plan with the 701st. That's what we're doing. Oh, would you look at the time? Well, lovely speaking with you on this July 5th. But frankly, I've got to G. Goodbye.